In this tutorial in Cyberlink PhotoDirector, we like to show you two different methods or techniques that you can use to take a person from one photograph and superimpose them in another. The first technique is a little more cumbersome and sometimes used, but the second one uses layers, which is overall a better choice, but one might work for you better than another, so we'll show you both. So let's assume we want to take the gal here and put her in the picture on the left. Let's use the technique that does not use layers first. So we'll focus on this image here. I'm going to turn off my side-by-side comparison and we'll focus on this image only. Now we'll go to the guided option and we'll do remove replace background. And now we have it taken care of, except there may be some things we need to adjust. So I'm going to click on the magnifying glass in the upper right corner. I'm going to drag in, particularly here, and you see we have some issues. We need to edit the cutout. In this case, you use the positive or negative to add or remove. And for example, I would take this out. I would probably take some stuff out here. And you can brush around and modify. I need to probably add, make sure I've got all of her glasses that are purplish. I might take out this dark area over the shoulder. We won't do major editing here. So I will just hit the space bar and we're back. I'm going to click on apply. I'm going to change the image. I'm going to click on the edit. And let's do crop and rotate. I'm going to turn off the lock for the proportions at the very top. And we'll make it smaller. And then we'll click Done in the lower left corner. And then I'm going to add it to my library. I'll click on File, Save As. We'll give it a name, and then we'll go back to our library. We'll add it to our library. So now what I can do, if I want to add it to the other image, let's go to my collection of 5 stars or better. We'll take this one, and now we're going to go into our guided option on this. And we have an option here called Photo Composer that will allow me to add an image. I'll click on Add Image in Photo Composer from my library. I'll take my walker here and click on Import. And what I can do is take this person and put them on the path going this way. Now, one thing you notice that's a little odd here is here the sunshine is coming in on behind his shoulders. It's a little bit on her. It's not quite perfect, but it's the shadow here is going to the left though. So if I wanted to kind of make it a little more natural, I might turn her the other direction and move her over here, and we can make some other adjustments. I can change the tint and temperature and opacity and contrast, other kinds of things. Might dial the contrast down a little bit, a little more blended. So that gives me an option. So now I can just save this, do a save as, and I could give it a new name, and then I have the picture. So that's one way to do it. But it requires that you be destructive in your editing. You take an original image and you cut it out of another one. And let's look at a different option to do the same thing. I'm going to go back to my library. I don't want to add it. And let's assume we want to add it to this image here again. So I'm going to click on the design option this time. I'm not going to add a layer beneath it. But I am going to click over here on the Add New Layer, and we'll add a photo layer from my library. And I'm going to pick the original with the scale. Click on Import. I'm going to pretend I haven't cut her out. Now what I want to do with this layer is I want to take the layer and I want to edit it. So I'm going to click on the mask, which is the box with a hole in it, with the second image of the gal on the bridge, and click on that. And now it will allow me to do a mask on this one only. So with this one selected and the mask selected, I'm going to click on my paintbrush on the left side, I'm going to take one of my lasso tools. I'll take this one here, this smart one, and we'll just basically try to go around her. We don't have to be very careful. And now I'm going to invert it by clicking on the invert selection on the left panel. And I can turn the show on or off. And now I've made a mask. Oh, I'm going to click on the cut. And now I've done the same thing much more simply. This image here, and now we can resize it. I can make her bigger. I'm going to change the fit here, go down to 10. And make her bigger. Move her wherever I want. We'll go back to fit. And there we have it. Now if I want to change the mask, if I want to adjust here, we probably got the same issue around her chin. All I need to do is highlight that. Then I go back onto the paintbrush on the left side. This time, instead of using any of these, I'm going to use the pencil tool. I can use a brush or a pencil. Pencil gives you a sharp edge, brush has a smoother edge. I'm going to zoom in again, right here under her chin. Now this did a better job, it looks like. But I can move around anywhere I want to see where I like it and where it didn't. You notice it seemed to have gotten a much better, tighter area around her hand. It even got the area here that we didn't get before, that open area. And there may be some things you want to change, but it did a pretty good job overall from what I can see. But if I wanted to edit it, I would just take the brush tool, and the color is black. Black will take away from the mask. I have to make sure I'm on the mask again. If I change my color, Control-Shift-K. Use a shortcut, we go to white. And if I go this way, now I'm adding from her photograph. And you see the mask changes. I'll do Control-Z, undo. But that's the way in which you can add or subtract. I wish there was a black and white command like there is in Photoshop, but we don't have that currently that I could find in PhotoDirector. But it allows you to fine-tune that. Go back to fit. And again, we could do other things with her if we wanted to. We could take this image, if they have the whole thing clicked, and we can flip her go in the other direction. Go back to our control, I can move her. I can resize, all kinds of things. So that's the second method by using layers. The other thing I can do with a layer that I can't do otherwise is I can actually add another layer to just edit her. I can click here. I can do a, let's see, we want to do maybe an exposure or a level or a curve. Let's do a curve. And I'm going to click do an S-curve. You notice that it impacts everything in the entire picture. Let's close that out. But now what I want to do is change this, say apply clipping mask. You see the arrow goes down, and now the changes only apply to her and not to the other elements. So I can make multiple clipping masks to modify her as opposed to the rest of my photograph. So when I take it out, you see you don't see the changes. There's the clipping mask applied and the clipping mask not applied. So you can do lots of sophisticated elements with this, but this gives you a second option, and probably for most photo editors the more common option, because you have the original photograph untouched. It just sits in here. So when you want to save this, you go File, Save As, and I would save it at the default is PHI, which saves the image as an entire project. That's what PHI stands for. You give it a name. I'll just call this test 2. And then if I want this as a photograph, I'll go File, Save As again. And this time I'll click the down arrow. We'll save it as a JPG file. I'll click Save. And now it's saved as a JPEG. I can go back to my library. If I say yes, it will import it in the library. And now when I look in my library, I have the original photograph and I have the modified photograph. So those are two methods you can use to add someone to a photograph in CyberLink PhotoDirector.